Today, folks, we're here to talk about the manliest sport on the planet. And if you think for a minute I'm going to be talking about hockey, well, this might surprise you, but while hockey is pretty manly, no, it's not the manliest sport out there. If you think I'm going to be talking about football, yeah, fuck football. Have you seen what the NFL looks like? Tom Brady's an old-ass grandpa at this point, and he can play football. That man's going to be playing football all the way into his 60s. That's how not manly football is. No, man, I'm going to tell you about the real manly sport. You know what that sport is? Simple. Bowling. What? You thought I was going to be telling you about tennis? They don't use 12-pound balls in tennis. Although that would be pretty funny. So yeah, if you're willing to dig deep into Pluto TV's movie section, you will find a sports section. And the only thing more surprising than the fact that Goon actually isn't in that, despite clearly being a sports movie about hockey, is that there is a movie in there called 12-Pound Balls. I clicked on this movie not knowing what to expect, although considering it's Pluto TV, it was safe to say it wasn't going to be porn. Although with a title like 12-Pound Balls, it's pretty easy to assume why you would probably go there first. Oh, this generation. 12-Pound Balls is what we call a mockumentary. It's not a real documentary, it's a mockumentary. A documentary-style movie that's usually intended to be funny. If you need a reference for what mockumentaries look like, I refer you to another movie called This Is Spinal Tap. A movie that, near as I can tell, isn't on Pluto TV, unfortunately, so I have no reason to cover it here on the series. Just so I can get it out there, just for, before we get any further into this review, just gotta say, Pluto TV really needs a search engine, man. Okay, back to the review. So this mockumentary takes place in War Road, Minnesota, and I'm not sure if War Road, Minnesota is real, or if that's just a town they made up. I mean, no judgment here. I mean, out here in Kansas, we've got a town called La Crosse, and you're never gonna guess what they sell out there. If you guessed barbed wire fencing, you're absolutely correct! Oh. 12-Pound Balls is a mockumentary that follows Emily, a retired bowler turned vlogger. She's also a 5th grade teacher and gay. And I'll say this much for the movie right out the gate is, I do kind of like how they don't rub it in your face that she's gay, like, they mention it like maybe twice the entire movie. As far as I can tell, she didn't exactly go wandering around with a rainbow bumper sticker, having a girlfriend that she kissed regularly, and they have the director of the movie come out on the screen and go, "Get it? She's gay! Have you picked up that she's gay?" They only ever say it once or twice, and they use it really as kind of a way to shoot down Longhair, who's helping her with her vlog. I should really get back to the summary. I'm having a really hard time focusing. The 12-Pound Balls is about Emily, a retired bowler turned vlogger, who is covering the Roso Bowl, which is the biggest bowling tournament in the entirety of Minnesota. It attracts tens of people. I mean, it's one of the biggest bowling events in the history. You're talking about the PBA championship? Fuck that. We're talking about the Roso Bowl, baby. There's a really quirky cast of characters. They all talk like this because, it's Minnesota, They all have this weird little thing where it's like, they all have the Fargo accent, don't you know? Interesting fact, when I was watching this movie for the very, very first time, until they said Minnesota, I was, for some reason, convinced this was taking place in Canada. I don't know why. Probably the accents. I'm not a very educated person, after all. I assume I hear an accent from Minnesota or Wisconsin, I immediately assume Canada for some reason, because I'm dumb like that, I guess. I don't know. The main conflict of the movie is Emily's arch-rival, Gunnar, challenging her to play him in the Roso Bowl. And Gunnar is kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh yeah, asshole. I took a look at this movie on IMDB because, to be honest, my usual haunt for this sort of thing, Metacritic, has no information about this movie whatsoever after I tried searching for it. Wikipedia didn't have any information on it. IMDB is like the only place you can actually find information about this movie, and that's kind of interesting. I mean, isn't Wikipedia supposed to be the thing that has everything? The movie has a 3.9 out of 10 on IMDb as of this recording, and You know, I gotta be a bit of a contrarian and say, why? It wasn't that bad. I mean, okay, it's not exactly gonna reinvent the wheel of comedy or mockumentaries even, but I actually kinda liked this movie. It actually made me laugh in a couple of spots. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. It just made me laugh, you know? I enjoyed this movie. The movie's not perfect. I will say I don't know how much you really need to know about the sport of bowling in order to get some of the jokes. There's plenty in here that's funny on its own, like whether it be, you know, just Barry the weirdo, or if it's Aunt Dawn who's constantly flirting with Uncle... I'm forgetting the name of the uncle off the top of my head here, but constantly flirting with him to the point where it's almost annoying, honestly. I will actually say Aunt Dawn was probably my least favorite character in the entire movie, but thankfully she's not in the movie especially long, and she's not especially in your face necessarily, you know, just she's there long enough for you to notice her, but she's not a huge point in the movie. She's just, you know, it's like, she's annoying enough, I guess. Also, I seem to be developing a bit of a pet peeve in my 30s for people who talk with their mouth full. And people in this movie do that a lot, I've noticed. I mean, this must be a Minnesota thing, because I don't know. I mean, it's one thing that Gunner, the bad guy, does it, because he's supposed to be annoying. I mean, dude's a fucking basement dweller who bowls professionally, makes about $3,000 in gift cards. You know, it's like, okay, I get that he's supposed to be the annoying one, but when everybody is annoying with, you know, like little personal pet peeves like this, it's a little hard to get invested in the good guys. Not too hard, but maybe just a little. Overall, I really feel like this movie deserves a lot better than it's getting on IMDb. It deserves more than a 3.9 for sure. I think it deserves at least a 5, maybe a 6. 5.5 if we're going to be a completely anal and just divide into decimal points, but that's fine, whatever. I own up to being a bit of a contrarian when it comes to things like this, but I actually did like this movie. Zach Madsen put together a really interesting idea for a movie that I found genuinely amusing and I don't regret watching. Overall, I give 12-pound balls 3 hats out of 4. And that's going to do it for this week's It Came From Pluto TV. Be sure to do the old YouTube shuffle. That's like, comment, subscribe, and ring-a-ding the bell to show that you actually have interest in this channel. And I'll see you next time, folks. I kind of want to go bowling now, you know?